Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with, well, this is going to be a long one, I think. It possibly is, because there are many issues to discuss in this absolutely grotesque and dreadful recording of Mendelssohn's music to A Midsummer Night's Dream by Jordi Savall and his, group of cultists, because that's what this is. It's a cult. It's the Capella Nacional de Catalunya and Le Concert des Nations under Jordi Savall. Where did these people go wrong? I'm trying to think about it. When did they stop being a musical organization and start being a something that's just not musical? I mean, I just look around and I see I have many recordings with them. Here's one. I mean, here's like back from the good old days. Remember these? Here we have Magnificat by Bach and Vivaldi. I mean, beautiful performances of things. Lovely performances of things. But even here, I mean, you've got with Pierre Hantai, and I mean, it's a lot. It's beautiful. It's beautifully packaged, wonderfully assembled. I'll just put this down here where the cat sleeps for now. They always offered a high quality deluxe product. They always did, always, from the very beginning. It's Savall's own label when he founded his own label. Remember, Savall started with Ovidis Valois, that French stuff, I think, on one of those people. I mean, they've had so many incarnations, I can't keep them straight. But then he went off and founded his own label, Alia Vox, and they've maintained a very, very, very high level of production. I mean, in terms of packaging, presentation. I mean, they offer themselves as a true boutique product, and rightly so. They've made some marvelous recordings. Savall was a master of early music, a gambist who did all kinds of, interesting stuff of the French viola da gamba school. But somewhere along the lines, they drank the Kool-Aid. They started believing their own PR, and the object of what they're doing ceased to be something musical and became something other. And it is really clearly represented in this particular production. I mean, look at this. It's a hardcover book. Really, I mean, beautiful. 200 and some odd pages. It has one of those bookmark ribbons in it, like you're reading the Bible or something like that. But what makes this even more bizarre and just takes it completely over the top, I mean, it is the most powerful example of musical overkill. Not even musical, just conceptual overkill that I've ever seen. I mean, really, it's a thing. It's not a musical thing. This is what you get. You get the complete incidental music with the play, both in Shakespeare's original text and in Schlegel's German translation of Shakespeare's original text. So you've got these actors and people all, acting it out. And I mean, you don't get the whole thing, of course, because, that would take hours. But, surrounding all the little bits of incidental music, you get some dialogue with actors. And there's this entire huge pile of actors who are doing things in English. And then on the other disc, 2 discs, in German. Now, the bottom line is, Mendelssohn's music to A Midsummer Night's Dream in the context of the original play is absolutely unlistenable unless you go to see the original play, because then it all makes sense and then it all fits. To just have, bits of the play surrounding the music is horrible, frankly. I mean, yes, you get to hear little fanfares and sniglets of things that you don't normally hear in the suite or even in the more complete incidental music performances, because there he wrote little tchotchkes that you could put in there. And then it's interesting maybe once. Remember, Nimbus did a recording of the complete Midsummer Night's Dream. I mean, the whole play with the music inserted. And that was like 2 or 3 discs or something. I mean, it takes hours. So nobody wants to waste their time with that. And this compromise to have sort of the play and sort of the music and the rest of the music is wholly unsuccessful and unpleasant, quite frankly, unless you want to hear people jabbering at you. I mean, Shakespeare's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. And notice how they're billing this as Shakespeare Mendelssohn, because they want it to be the Shakespeare experience equal to the Mendelssohn experience. Well, no, frankly, because then On CDs 3 and 4, I'm not kidding, CDs 3 and 4, you get the concert versions of the suite, of the incidental music, one in English, one in German. And it doesn't make any difference what language they sing in, first of all, because the words are completely unintelligible, at least the way they're recorded here. The voices have this sort of strange, echoey ambiance around them, and I have no idea what they're singing about. I mean, if you did know what they're singing about, would it really help? I mean, honestly, do you really care that they're singing about ye spotted snakes, or to do it in German, bunte Schlangen? I mean, it's just inane. It really is. So you've got 4 CDs here of the same thing. Remember Savall's recording of Mendelssohn's Italian Symphony, where you had 2 versions of Mendelssohn's Italian Symphony, both equally bad, horrendous, and it's the same thing here. You get 4 versions of an absolutely wretched, horrible, miserable recording of the incidental music. And, the same bad overture 4 times, the same bad wedding march, the same bad scherzo. The nocturne's okay. I can survive that. Really, it's just insane to think that anybody's going to listen to all 4 discs, first of all, and to buy this just to get one of them. And then, of course, there's this book. Now, the book is magnificent. It's magnifique. I mean, you have this leaflet, which we need to talk about separately. That's a big deal. The CDs are embedded here so that you could sort of slide them out. Or, if you want to be really creative, you can use your patented Classics Today Dave H. Ultimate Guide CD extraction device, better known as a false eyelash applicator. And you can stick your CD extraction device into this wonderful area and pull the CD right out like that. It works wonderfully well. It doesn't muck up your CD with finger oil or anything, as if it matters, when the performances are so bad. So what makes the performances so bad? Let's talk about that for a minute as I put my extraction device back. Okay, here we go. You ready? The opening of the overture, which is too slow, by the way, the opening of the overture is exquisitely well tuned. I think Savall must have worked with his woodwind section for months to get this beautiful, pure, magical sound. Then as soon as the strings come in, it all goes to hell. First of all, it's too slow. It sounds metronomic. It's supposed to be fairy-like, all that stuff. It's just this, quiet rustling and fantastical music. Well, here it's chugga 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 chugga. I mean, it sounds like they're all counting while they're playing. It's really, really bad. Then the loud eruption happens, and just forget it. Any illusion that this is good music making goes straight out the window. First of all you hear is the timpani. These hard, rock-hard wooden timpani, wooden sounding timpani. They're just clodhopperish. They're just blowing away the rest of the orchestra. The strings are completely ill-balanced. You don't hear them. You hear this disgusting, compacted woodwind and brass sound in the middle, this sort of clogged, congested. You strain to hear the melodies, strange farty noises, from the ophicleidae and then the bottom of the orchestra. It's just dreadful. It's a horrible, ill-balanced, unmusical, revolting sound. I mean, I don't understand how anybody could think that this represents some illusion of idiomatic or authentic or anything approach to the music. I mean, Mendelssohn's orchestration is a miracle. He's one of the great symphonic orchestrators, and he knew how to balance things, how to make them sound lovely. There's no way in a billion years that this music sounded anything like what these people do, because it's just unmusical. It's terrible. I mean, the scherzo is too slow, and actually it seems like there are some ensemble problems in like keeping it together. I mean, the wedding march is the most flat-footed, untriumphant, joyless performance that you've ever heard in your life. It's just horrible. Absolutely horrible. And so here we have this unbelievably glorious, gorgeous, beautiful, incredible packaging. I mean, you've got huge essays by Larry Todd, the Mendelssohn scholar, and then an essay by Savall, and then things about Mendelssohn and Shakespeare, and then essays in German about the German version by Schlegel. And I mean, it's just more information that you ever need to want to just listen to music, which is extremely well known and extremely popular, and whose mastery has never been questioned. They don't need to make a case for this music. That's been settled for about, I don't know, almost 200 years now. Really? So what are they doing with this? What is this? That's the question. I mean, the music seems to be completely lost in the broader packaging concept. And like I said, these people are no longer a musical organization. I mean, Savall is a cult. He's a national hero in Catalonia, or Catalonia, whatever you want to call it these days. And it seems like he can do no wrong there. But that's not the point. And it's very interesting. What makes this really, really interesting, and the aside from the musical horribleness of it all, is this leaflet, which came inside the book. Here it is, and this you've got to hear. It's really quite extraordinary. Let's see. We have to find the English version. Oh, by the way, I do want to talk a little bit about this. The notes that you get in a bazillion languages, every language known to mankind, you get them in French, English, Catalan, Deutsch, or German, Italian, and Castellano, or Castellano, however you want to pronounce it. Well, what is Castellano? Castellano is Spanish. Just plain normal Spanish, basically. But this is produced in Catalonia, some of which has been trying to declare its independence for the past couple of decades. I know. I was there when they declared independence in 2017 or whenever it was. And they were all running around outside the parliament, and the Spanish government declared them traitors. And what's his name? Carl Puigdemont, whatever his name was, who was running the parliament, had to flee for his life. They were granted amnesty later, which I think was just a dreadful thing to do, but that's okay. So I was there. I was having dinner when independence was declared in a restaurant right outside the Catalonian parliament. What a few days that was. I was at a musicological seminar, and it was really quite fun. But the bottom line is they don't want to admit that there is a language called Spanish in a country called Spain. There is simply a collection of local dialects, and among them are Castellano and Catalan, which are on an equal footing. Well, I mean, that already tells you that these people are operating in a hallucinatory environment, doesn't it? Really? I mean, they live in a bubble. They really do. And that bubble is wonderfully, wonderfully encapsulated in this incredibly bizarre leaflet. Let me find the English bit so we can do it. Let's see. There is an English bit. I know there is, unless I actually read it in one of these 3 or 4 languages, all of which I could read perfectly fine. But no, it is up there. It is SOS, Le Concert des Nations. It's an SOS. Yes, SOS is the same in Catalan. No matter how you do it, it's an SOS. Dear friends and music lovers, we have an urgent message for you. Now, I'm giving them this publicity, so whether they like me or not, they should be happy that I'm reading this to the world. The present political and social circumstances in Europe are putting at risk the vital resources on which culture relies. Loaded opening line. So already they are culture. I mean, of course they are. The situation particularly affects independent music groups such as ours, which depend on annual subsidies and which, with their limited funding, have to compete with the major institutional orchestras, which are entirely supported by public funds. Yeah, well, there you go. It's an issue, isn't it? In order to survive in this emergency context, starting in 2025, we have to find new sources of sponsorship for our orchestra and especially for our academies for young professionals, which we organize jointly with the Concerts Nations and la Capella Nacional de Catalunya. So, okay. So here comes the pitch. You ready? We would like to point out that we are the only orchestra in the world consisting of 50% professional young musicians and 50% experienced professional musicians, dedicated to recovering with the highest level of excellence the great works of the European musical heritage, a common language which unites us all. Oh, yeah, that's why it's in Catalan, because they're doing common languages of unification, right? Hypocrites. Ridiculous. Using period performance techniques and instruments. Okay, first of all, 50% young people, 50% old people. Who gives a damn? All that matters is the quality of the musical results. What they're really saying is that they're like a pickup orchestra of partially trained people. And I don't care who's in the orchestra. It was like Daniel Barenboim's half Israeli, half Palestinian orchestra. I mean, oh, isn't it lovely? Everyone's together harmonizing. No, it's BS. It's politics. It's not music. And what matters is musical sound, how they perform, how great is the recording. How does this piece of Chazarai compare to all of the other glorious performances of Mendelssohn's Midsummer Night's Dream that you, the public, have the opportunity to purchase? That's what matters. What matters is the music, not the employment situation of the people creating the music. I hate to say it, but that's the reality, because, as they point out, there are major national institutions doing all the same stuff. Yes, so let's continue, shall we? Through the work of our academies, we fill an absolute void, bullshit, in the professional training of young musicians specializing in historical music. It's all historical music. What are they talking about? We offer them the opportunity of top-level artistic and professional experience, concerts in the leading European concert halls, and recordings of outstanding quality. Now, listen. First of all of these kids can get jobs. They don't need this particular job. And those jobs offer exactly what these people offer, because they are professional musicians playing in professional circumstances. And if they're good enough and get up to the great orchestras and the great ensembles, they will tour and do all the things that these people do. Will they do it on period instruments? Some of them will. Some of them won't. There's no shortage of period instrument organizations in Spain or anywhere else. So then we've got annual activities. We hold 3 annual professional academies, give more than 30 concerts at leading European concert halls and festivals, and they list a whole bunch of festivals. We provide 3,000 contracts to musicians from more than 20 different countries. So in other words, they're just about employment. And it's about jobs. It's not about music. It's about jobs. I want musicians to have jobs. But the fact of the matter is that there are too many musicians out there and not enough jobs, because there's tons of it, tons and tons and tons of this, and it's all the same stuff. We do not need these people to introduce us to Mendelssohn's music, to A Midsummer Night's Dream at all. There is nothing they can tell us, and nothing they do tell us, more to the point, in this particular ridiculously overkilled production, that we didn't already know, other than the fact that they can make a uniquely horrible sound in music that one would have thought by now is indestructible because it's so well known and everyone knows how to play it. What they have done essentially is unlearned it, because their approach is that which sounds different must be correct. Right? I mean, that's one of the founding fallacies of the entire period instrument movement. I even had a big talk about that with Charles McHarris, who admitted it and said, yes, it sounds different. I like that. That's what he wanted. He wanted it just because it sounded different, which was interesting to him. And I understand that. If making it sound different is interesting to you, good. By all means, be interested. But there is also a point at which that which is different becomes that which is unmusical and unidiomatic and unpleasant. And they have crossed that line. So anyway, let us continue. They have programs envisaged for 2025 to 2028. This is just envisaged, mind you. 2025, let's see, Mozart, Great Mass in C minor with 60 musicians. Schumann's Paradies and the Peri, 98 musicians. Mendelssohn, Walpurgisnacht and the Scottish Symphony, 95 musicians. So they tell you exactly how many people they're going to employ for each thing. Then 2026, Beethoven, Christ on the Mount of Olives, and Haydn, The Seven Last Words, 88 musicians. Now, Savall has done The Seven Last Words on his own label. Well, one of them was an earlier OVG's Valois production, but they were all on his own label. Twice. Already. Twice. So it's not just that he's doing music that's been done 100 times before. He's doing music that he's done 100 times before. Then we've got, let's see, Brahms, German Requiem, 125 musicians. Oh, wouldn't that be a treat? And Vivaldi. Oh, look at this. Gloria and Magnificat. Well, we just have the Vivaldi Magnificats right here. Damn it. So that's same stuff. Is there any originality there? No. Then Beethoven, Missa Solemnis and Symphonies in 2027. Well, they recorded the symphonies. It's horrible. Absolutely. High the Missa Solemnis, I think, too. Didn't they? Didn't they do that, too? Did it suck equally? Schumann symphonies. Oh, isn't that going to be dire? Symphonies 1 and 3 of the Manfred Overture. Beethoven, Fidelio. Well, we have both Fidelio and Leonora on period instruments already. So, okay. Then we've got 2028. Bach, St. Matthew Passion. They must be kidding. Berlioz, La Nuit d'été and Symphonie Fantastique. How many period Symphony Fantastiques have we had to put up with already, right? And Smetana Mavlost. Well, that's going way into the 19th century. I cannot imagine these people playing Smetana's Mavlost. What an atrocious idea that is. So then they have critics' recognition of Le Concert des Nations, nominated by prestigious magazine Gramophone of one of the best 10 orchestras of the year in 2023. What does that mean, I ask you? And their Beethoven symphonies, Gramophone described as one of the 50 finest recordings of Ludwig van Beethoven's music. 50? In the top 50? That's what they want us to pay for so they can stay in the top 50? Sponsorship modes and options. To ensure the continuity of projects that we have planned for the coming years and to continue the pedagogical and artistic work that we've been doing since 2010, it would be wonderful to be able to enlist your help. You could choose various types of sponsorship, such as helping to fund an academy, a tour, a concert. Sure, I have a few extra bucks. I mean, what the heck? As well as an annual support for the orchestra or choir. Your support, whether modest or more ambitious, depending on the means available, will be an important contribution, providing continuity and encouragement to a musical project that is born out of a passion for beauty and culture, which are fundamental to our way of understanding and living in the world that we share and which currently need to be proclaimed and defended. Okay. We've been hearing this kind of cant forever. There is a crisis. There is a crisis of culture, a crisis in the community, a crisis of music, a crisis of everything. The community is dying. The world is going to hell. Everything is going down the tubes. Well, it's really not surprising because people suck. They always have. They always will. It's never going to change. We have to get used to that. What really matters is that these people are not the world of culture. They're not the world of classical music. They're not so important. They're trying to produce these books and things to demonstrate that they are, and they're beautiful. And there's passion, and there's care devoted to every single bit of this. But at some point, the music has gotten completely lost in the shuffle. It's become a self-justifying endeavor. They're there to provide jobs. They're there because what they do is glorious. The universe owes them a living, which it does not. And their programs, upcoming programs of the same stuff, just done over and over and over, even stuff that they've already done, that Savall has already done. I mean, for this, they're asking for piles and piles and piles of money. And I wouldn't support that. I supported it. I bought this. I supported them. But if they can't make a living, they can't get enough support for what they produce because the music is excellent or interesting or extraordinary, then why should anybody give them money? And what are they talking about with the crisis? I mean, if they're having a crisis, good, they'll disappear. And music will go on, and we'll still be getting recordings of Mendelssohn's incidental music to A Midsummer Night's Dream. And some of them will be gorgeous, and some of them will be horrible, because that's just natural and normal and the way things work. And I just think this whole thing is incredibly disturbing about what it says about the attitude, the sense of entitlement of people who work in the arts, and in the bubble in which they encase themselves, the unreality of the whole thing. And what really matters at the end of the day is that this performance, all four of them, of the music to A Midsummer Night's Dream is just awful. It's just bad. It's misguided. It's completely devoid of good musical sense, tradition, love of culture. No, they don't love culture. They love themselves. That's what it is. It's just a narcissistic, masturbatory waste. And that's the truth. It's really what it is. So there you go, friends. Keep on listening to other things, or if you want to listen to that, feel free. It's your time. It's your life. It's your ears. It's your money. Do as you please. But keep on listening. Thanks for joining me, and take care.